Hi, welcome to Huntseekers on the Road. Today we're at Fort Dobbs in North Carolina. It's a historical site during the
Wasn't it the French and Indian War?
the French and Indian War. So this place is over 275 years old and it should be pretty cool to tour through. It's just a really cool place. Hope you guys enjoy it.
To build the fort, they need bullets for their guns, they need clothing, shoes, they need a huge amount of food every day to feed 50 people. So one big room of the fort like this is going to be their supply room, their storehouse. Up here we'll have candles and soap and salt and vinegar and barrels of flour and rice and peas. But we also have an underground store.
That's kind of an ingenious, just architectural thought.
To that end, the other thing we have in here, the well, is a protected water source. And this is the site of the actual well at Fort Dobbs that archaeologists were able to discover. Filled mattress, you've got a long bolster pillow. Each man gets one blanket, so when it is cold, two guys is an advantage. You can share blankets and snuggle and stay a little bit.
Imagine how stinky
And you never had to share a bed.
Well, there's always a few guys that are taking turns being on guard, but the majority of the men are probably sleeping in here.
This reminds me of the battleship.
Typically in a day, one soldier is going to get around 3/4 to a pound of meat, like this salted pork. You're going to get about a pound of flour. And once the fort was finished, we think they built clay ovens outside to actually have bread. You're going to get around half a cup of peas or rice, a little bit of butter, salt, vinegar, 4 ounces of rum, and that's your daily food ration.
All the good stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. The rum takes the end. But they're not civilians required by law to perform military service in the event of an emergency. So they don't bring guns from home, they're issued military weapons. From the Tower of London, North Carolina gets 1,000 stand of arms, or sets of equipment. Just the right height. Perfect. You guys want to see how heavy the gun is? I have to keep my hand on it, but you can see how heavy it is. That's about 10 pounds. You want to see? Might want to use both hands.
What was
Well,
that?
you got it with one. Look at it. It's just monotonous. Every day it's pretty interesting. So there are 3 men who are chosen by the governor to be the officers commanding this force. In 1756, the guy in charge of everyone here is a 24-year-old Irish immigrant named Hugh Waddell. He is a captain. He's going to be assisted by a lieutenant and an ensign as the lowest ranking officer. Hundreds of miles away, 2 of the men commanding other forts in Virginia and South Carolina. They're working with the militia to have those civilians take turns patrolling the bigger countryside.
Like you said, the resources.
Exactly, sure. Did you find our shaving set there?
Yes.
Yeah. The number of Cherokee getting too close for comfort. The soldiers, well, Colonel Waddell leads 9 of his soldiers out of the fort to make the Indians go away. They get about 300 yards from us, pretty much where the green grass begins, where the red clover ends over there. At that point, they are fired on by dozens of Cherokee who charge them. Well, the French in the century before this had brought they were the most powerful military in the world, and they had brought the science of building forts to its highest level. They were the first ones to write it down in manuals and books, and even the British were studying French manuals. And so for a lot of fortification terms, we see French words, cheval de frise, parapets, bastions, things like that incorporated into British forts.
So we just finished the tour of Fort Dobbs. Dobbs,
David.
Jeez, I can't remember the name. Isabel got a fan from China because they said that they brought a lot of stuff over when the settlers came or when the armies came. And they've got this beautiful nature trail that we're going to walk on before we go home. But this is highly recommended to come here if you want a little bit of history, pre-United States history, and very informative. Had a lot of cool stories and told us about battles that happened here and things like that, and it's just so interesting. Big part of history here. A lot of it was kind of interesting to hear some of the stories about how a lot of these things happened by mistake. Someone shot someone or something like that, someone retaliated, and then that's how the war began. So very, very cool. And this trail, a beautiful trail out here to go wander around in the woods a little bit. And you can see the homestead house, which is like the main office for them right there. Very neat. Highly recommended. North Carolina, Statesville, Fort Dobbs, 1755.